Hi guys, my name is Mike and I'd like to share with you my experience in the CAD files, DWG files, tracing in the SketchUp. So firstly we need to import DWG file. Be sure that you are using the right units in this dialog. Importing the SketchUp also imports layers, colors, used in the AutoCAD file. So we need to get rid of this. First of all, we need to turn on all desired layers by shift clicking on the first and the last one, and click the visible button, and then clicking the minus button, checking the move contents to default layer to layer 0. All the contents will be moved to layer 0. Now I can enter the group and delete unnecessary geometry. Then I need to delete all the materials used in our drawing. From first glance, there are no faces and no objects in this particular drawing, but we can set up the material to the edge. So if we will choose this separate edge, this badge tells us which material is using on the edge, and we will use this thing to walk around the feature color by layer, because of the color by layer is just working with the geometry, with the faces, but not with the lines. So entering the group, selecting all, and clicking on the badge, you can select the material. Now let's create the material, named the edge matte, and let's choose something semi-gray, like 17, 17, 17. Okay, and clicking the badge and choosing this edge matte. Okay, next, to let our tracing be more comfortable, we need to set up the style. The default style gives us the edge points, the jitters, etc., and the gray background with the sky. I need to get rid of this. So going to the edit and choosing leaving the edge, leaving the profiles to let see the connected faces and connected lines during the drawing. We need uncheck the extension, endpoints, etc. Now going to the face, we need to choose front color, something to the let's say 110, 110, 110. Slightly lightly than the edge material. You can check this. Next, back color, we need to set to the something very bright. I oftenly often you choose using magenta to avoid undesirable back faces. We need to avoid this during the tracing and push and pulling to keep changes in the model. We are working with the right face orientation. So next, going to the background and unchecking the sky, and on the background we're creating AutoCAD like white on black interface. Now we are ready to tracing over our DWG file. But now we need to place all the geometry on the it's already on the layer 0 because of after they have deleted all our layers. We kept the geometry on the default layer 0 layer, and we just created the layer 1. Let's rename it to the tracing over, and we don't need to bother about the color of the layer because of I'd like to show you the workaround to distinguish the tracing and working line color. So don't forget about the clicking the default drawing layer to work on the tracing layer, not on the layer 0. We can even right click and lock the tracing pattern, so we can work over the on the tracing over. Now when I drawing some lines on the tracing over layer, it shows us the same color as the tracing color, so we cannot trace over because of we cannot see the separate lines color. Now as we set up the color for the edges, we need to set up in the styles. The most important thing, we need to use the color by material, and this option will render our edges by the material which is applied to these edges. So now we are working on the edge color, edge matte, and some geometry you can see which were blocks in the AutoCAD became the components in the SketchUp, and they are colored by different color inside the blocks. So if this will happen, we need to select all these components. We can just select some additional geometry and explode. As this newly added lines became the part of your selection, the shield of the color sheet is marked by the question mark because of there are some different colors in the selection. We need to reapply the edge matte after exploding. Now all the material, all the components are exploded and colored by the edge matte color. Now we can lock the tracing over. We can even don't forget about setting the style. We can even edit this color using the, I prefer using the grayscale and using this palette hue, saturation, brightness, leaving the hue, saturation 0 and 0. I'm working in the grayscale color space, so I can visually adapt my edge matte to my background. And now if I will draw something, by default newly drawn edges are coloring by default material, and the by default material we newly added edges are white. So now we can just create some walls using the shift key. There are many techniques about how to draw this. For example, I just create this thing, push and pulling this on the desired height, keeping the pressing the K key, which is by default for the back edges. You can even glue to the inside geometry, selecting this. And push and pulling. Of course, there are a lot of additional tricks you should know to avoid some wall, unparalleled wall creating, like something like this. If you are snapping to some points, you can snap to many intersections, so avoid some crossing points. Use the snapping, shift snapping, locking the direction and snapping to the some edge points. To check whether the newly push and pulled wall is perfect, you can just create the window. If it works, it's created well, but sometimes it can be created like this. It's happened then slightly unparalleled, so snapping to the crossing point, undesirable, snap to the some point on the line which involved in the crossing, and keeping the shift key. For example, this wall is drawn unparalleled, so you can face such problem. Do not try to fix this by drawing the rectangle. You just adding the new additional undesired geometry. When you are creating Windows rights, just select all the geometry involved in the window, and in the entity info you should see the 16 entities, not more. If you will see something 25, it tells you about the problems which can bring you the headache in the further modeling and further exporting. So if some ball doesn't push and pulled through the ball, just delete them and create from the scratch some wall section, not all the wall. But you need to check some walls during your modeling, whether them perfect or not. It's the commonly mistake with such messing with the walls, where the windows and the doors. So door should contain 30 entities, and the window should contain 60 entities, not more. So this is some tricks about the tracing DWG files in the SketchUp. Hope this will help you, and see you next time with some more SketchUp tricks and tips. Bye bye.